A great teacher once told me that most golfers are only one powerful mental image away from making a gigantic improvement to their golf swings. So in this video, I'm going to introduce to you one of the greatest images that I've ever conceived of that have helped hundreds of my students hit the ball longer and straighter. And it'll be very easy for you to pick up because you may already know this motion. So if you're a fan of boxing, you know that there are several different types of punches to make sure that you can come at your opponent from different angles with different timing and keep them from being able to guess what you're doing. But in this case, we're going to use a little known punch. It's going to be a little bit of a combination. You see, an uppercut doesn't quite cover it, although it is kind of an uppercut because we are going to punch upwards. But there's another kind of punch that was made famous by Sugar Ray Leonard. It was called the bolo punch, where he kind of did a little wind up, but it was more of a wild roundhouse uppercut. Of course, it really opens you up for a counter punch, and so it takes too long too, and it's too easy to see coming. But boy, if you were able to get a punch off like this. So I'm starting from here, and I'm going to turn upwards this way. Man, if you can do that, see how I'm low down here, and I'm wound away from my opponent, and I'm going to come up and around. Now, see, if I was ever allowed to get that punch off against an opponent, they're done. I'm going to knock them right out of the ring over the ropes. That's so much power by doing that. Not only will this imagery give you massive power, though, you're also going to see how it positions your body perfectly for consistently straight, solid strikes as well. It really can give you the feeling of what the pros on TV feel when they swing. All right, let's take a closer look at that. So you can see what I'm doing here at the beginning of this punch would be, I'm going to be in a little bit of a low position. So what I want you to pretend, if you really want to get full advantage over this image, I want you to pretend like your opponent that you're boxing is only about 4 feet tall. And yet you've got an uppercut. So it'd be easy to hit down on the top of his head if you're taller, but if your opponent is only 4 feet tall, you've got to get under his chin to punch upward. So you're going to have to get a bit low, and I'm doing this by bending my knees a bit and sticking my rump way out and creating lots of hip flexion. And then I'm going to turn my torso a bit away from him, and I'm trying to get my arm and fist into a low position here. That way I can come under the short boxer's chin. Now, I don't even have to actually throw a punch. The punch will be thrown simply by the standing up of the body and the rotation of the body. And that's going to bring my fist right into the knockout position here. So watch now as I'm going to, what they say in boxing, snap the hips. In golf, we call it either clearing the hips or pivoting, you might say, shifting the weight. My weight is favoring my right foot right now. I'm going to step into the heel of the left foot. I'm going to shift my hips towards my opponent just a bit. I'm going to start rotating both the hips and the shoulders at the same time. And that's going to rotate my arm, see, right under this opponent's chin right here. Just like that. And watch as I stand up with this left leg and start to go from a short position or a bent position into a tall position. That push through the left heel into the ground, making me stand up, is really allowing me to snap my rotation quicker into the opponent, just like this. See, I don't even have to extend my arm to get knockout power. It's going to come from the pivot and the rotation of the hips and chest. Let's look at it from a couple different angles. Here's more down the line. Here, I got to get under the chin of the short boxer, so I've got to get butt back, rump back, bow. And in the slot of your golf swing, you're going to have both knees bent for the only time in the swing as they switch. So it's going to be, now, I'm going to straighten this left leg and feel like I'm getting tall or standing up out of the ground as I rotate and clear the hips or snap the hips, just like that. And that brings me right into my target where I can make the knockout punch. One more look from this perspective now. We're going low to high, both with the body and with the arm, just like this, and up and turn, up and turn, up and turn. And I come right up into the opponent's jaw, knocking him clear out of the ring. Now, hopefully at home you've been following this, doing a little bit of shadow boxing on your own. Now, the next step you would do is just take a short iron and grip all the way down to the bottom of the grip and just repeat what you've just done. You're going to set the club in the slot positions. Remember, your fist would be right about here, but you're going to set this club in the slot position. Down here again, lots of forward bow of the hips, a little bit of bend in both knees, butt behind you so you can get low. And now, as I snap the hips, now I'm going to use the implement. I'm going to snap the implement almost as if I'm using this as the fist. I'm going to strike the jaw with this instead. So here, and turn upwards and snap. Just like that. Just like that. So that would look from down the line. Here we've got the club in a shallow slot position. Backs to the target for a second. Now we start to shift towards the opponent. We start to rotate the hips and the chest. And we start to stand up onto the left leg. And we snap it off somewhere out in front of us here. You gotta imagine that your opponent is not here by the tee. That's not where you're going to snap your energy. You're going to be snapping your energy out in front, or what golfers would call getting your speed out in front. So it would look like this, just like that. Now, this is an extremely powerful image and motion because of what it sets up in your golf swing. It sets up for just an incredibly efficient use of the ground, use of the body and the legs to generate power. But it's also getting your torso set at the perfect angle to strike the ball perfectly straight every time, to be right on plane and have tons of consistency in your golf swing. Watch now how this motion, the feeling of getting under the chin and then uppercutting, takes my right side of my body and gets it low and around, so that I can swing the club around on the correct plane. You watch it from this angle. The act of getting under the chin and then up into the chin, feeling this uppercut motion, you can see how my spine is now at a tilt, making the left side high, the right side low. I've got the correct knee and ankle movement this way, which helps to further solidify the correct tilted angle of the spine coming into the ball. I've also cleared everything out of the way. I'm free to snap the club around the arc and upwards, which is really when you're going to feel the snap. You're going to feel it not at the ball, but out in front and around the arc to the left in order to get the straightest possible shots. All right, let's try this imagery on a couple of clubs here. Here's a pitching wedge. And I feel like I am here and wham, snapping that club. It's not a punch anymore. As soon as I add an implement, the hand is in the same position, but now I'm adding that extra lever that you get in golf, that wrist going from here to here, very free, giving me even more speed with this club head. And now with the driver, the sensation of coming under and uppercutting. All I'm trying to imagine right now. And again, I'm feeling this perfect positioning of the torso, simply for the image that I'm feeling, simply from the image that I'm thinking in my head of this, perfectly positioning my legs and torso for the best possible strike. So this image will work regardless of what club you're hitting. It'll even work for some pitch shots. You just have to imagine that you're punching at the same angle but more gently, like this, like you're just trying to give your opponent a little fake lobe tap. And that'll work for some shorter pitch shots and finesse shots. So if you're struggling with your swing, give this image a try. Remember, most golfers are only one powerful mental image away from having a really great golf swing where everything just clicks into place and you start hitting the ball great. And this is not a Band-Aid fix. This is getting you to fall into the right swing mechanics, very complex swing mechanics, by kind of tapping into other skills or thoughts that you've already had during your life. All right, thanks so much for watching all the way through. If you got value out of this, please go down and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my website, hititlonger.com, where you're gonna find hundreds of more great videos and articles, as well as personalized coaching options that I'm sure I can help you get your swing to the next level. So if I don't see you in the next video, which I hope you watch, but if I don't, I'd love to see you hitting it longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.